Well, hello once again, everybody. Good evening to you, and welcome back to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Sockers and the Major Arena Soccer League. With Tony Sanchez, Craig Elston here with you for the next hour or so on Season 7, Episode 3 of Soccer's Overtime. Do you see the goal scored totals for 3 games, 3 wins? 7, 7, 7. Let's go! That's the title of the episode here. Shout out to Silk Sonic. What's going on, Tony? How are you?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. A lot of San Diego Sockers action to talk about, a lot to recap, and a lot of good stuff to talk about. Let's just say that's got me excited, Craig.
Hey, you know what? I think we're the one corner of the San Diego sports world that just has good news. I guess things are fine at San Diego FC. Everything's chill there. They haven't lost a match yet in franchise history. Pretty much everywhere else, there's either tumbleweeds or fires going on, losses, depression. Not around here, man. Not around here. Everything good in Soccer Town. All good. Here's what we got on the show for you tonight. 3 recaps, all gas, no breaks. Last time we did a show, Sockers were 5-1. Now the Sockers are 8-1. All right. Not bad. That means we've got 3 recaps to bring you from the matches against Kansas City and Texas. And of course, yesterday at Empire, a little MLK Day affair. We've got a tie-you out in St. Louis. We've got a kerfuffle between the Wave and the Stars. And now we've got suspensions. Ooh, do we have suspensions? Let's talk about it. We'll go through it all later in MASL news and a chance for top of the table. Maybe we'll handicap the field in Soccer's news for the weekend ahead. Should be a fun show. Very straightforward program today. As I texted Tony, we got 3 recaps, so we're not going to have a guest on today's program because I wasn't going to make somebody wait through 3 game recaps. And we didn't want to do a 2-hour show along those lines either. But, before we get into each individual match, Tony, I would say let's start with kind of just the broader picture. San Diego began the first third of their season with 6 home matches out of 8. It was going to be incumbent upon the club to really gather momentum and build momentum through the beginning of the season, because we know there will be some very difficult road stretches that are coming up, honestly, pretty soon now. And hey, this is about as well as the Sockers could have done. I mean, obviously they lost the first game, so that's not great, but to be 6-0 at home, even if the form wasn't always exactly what you're looking for, the team's defense has been good. They've grinded out the results. And in the 2 big matches they played versus Chihuahua and Kansas City, they pulled out really solid efforts and really solid wins. So overall, if I was going to give first trimester report card, it's got to be an A minus at the worst for the San Diego Sockers.
Yeah, it's a positive progress report at this point, and I think anybody who sees what the Sockers became after that first match has to be more than content, if anything above, overjoyed with this Sockers team. And honestly, they've been able to answer every question asked of them. It might have taken a little bit. It might have taken some convincing, might have taken some adjustment for certain players and certain questions of them. But I'm really liking the way that the Sockers are responding here. And you know what? At this point, if they're really positioning themselves to be the Sockers of old, then I'm all for it. And this is exactly how you start that, with a great run of form and going up against some pretty top dogs in the league right now.
It's funny because there's a lot of ways in which you'd say that this Sockers team is still coming together. You still feel like there has to be a higher level offensively, because 7 goals is pretty much, I think, 9 once and then 7 the last 3. So, I mean, obviously trending in the right direction here for San Diego offensively, but still you feel like there's still room for growth for the team on that third of the field. And then you look around and you say, boy, the Sockers have taken a good amount of injuries in the first third of the season. Right now, I mean, you look at Luis Morales, he missed 3 matches for Kings Cup. He's back now, but Pee-wee Ortega has missed 5 matches already. Cardenas missed the first 2 of the year. Serta has missed 4, including the last 2. Leo missed 2. Felipe has missed the last 6 in a row. Taylor Bond has missed 5. Ben Raymond missed the last 2 matches for the Sockers. You go down the list, there's been a pretty sizable number of injuries for San Diego. And the funny thing is, though, Tony, sometimes when you take players off the Sockers, that forces other star players into higher usage rates. And then those guys wind up being really good, and it's as if you didn't lose anybody.
And I think that's what I'm really liking about this team aspect of the Sockers and what they're providing so far this season is that there's not an over reliance on one player. And that's what I was afraid of with Luis Morales coming in and really coming out of a cannon and showing this offensive firepower where you almost wanted to say, well, if this is what we're going to get, who needs another star striker with Tavoy? If Tavoy doesn't have the night, you'll have Morales. But then you started getting that balance of like, well, it's not just everybody up top. It's that midfield that needs to respond. The midfield's woken up. Charlie Gonzalez has really, once again, really become that Charlie Gonzalez of old as well. And it's spread out. And I think this is a really good aspect of the team that's showcasing in these last 3 games, right? You get 3 games in a short amount of time, and you have so many different goal scorers, so many different creations from the back, from the front, contributions, even going down to Xavier Snare Williams. Like there's contributions from the backup goalkeeper. And when you have a team with such depth and you are able to showcase that and really build that chemistry throughout the entire squad, then that's when you start building that A side of a team and you start building that confidence. And I think the Sockers find themselves in that exact same spot in that mentality as well.
Yeah, I agree. So it's highly encouraging, everything that we've seen. The additions to the team are starting to really bear fruit. Obviously, I agree with Eddie. Keiko Gontan has just been amazing. I think, honestly, all-star level play by Keiko Gontan. But, as we'll get into it, Sebastian Mendez now has multiple points in 4 games in a row. And that was after I think he had 1 point in the first 5 matches of the season. So Mendez is starting to find his place within the offense. And again, it's kind of counterintuitive, but you take some players out of the mix, all of a sudden, okay, we need to rely on Gabe Costa more. We need to rely on Charlie Gonzalez more. We need to rely on Tavoy more. And then those guys come up with the big points and the big goals, the big assists. And so here you take a look right now on the screen at where the scoring is for San Diego. And look at that balance. You've got 2 at 13, 4 at 9 points at 1 point per match, and 1 at 8 points. So really, depth, balance of play, but it's really encouraging to see Mendez up there at 5 goals, 4 assists, because he was 0-1 5 matches into this. So now you're starting to see, why is he a star player in this league? Why is he one of the young talents to watch? Because he just needed to find his footing within the framework.
Exactly. And that was just going to be a time thing, a moment for him to really settle in and really learn the style and where he is necessarily needed, right? Because you have a self-sufficient Sockers team who some may say didn't really need a Mendez on the team. Now with everything happened with Escoto and actually having that vacuum of now we need you to go ahead and step up into this role. There was some pressure there, and there was definitely times where you can see that pressure weighing on Mendez and taking decisions that would be Sockers friendly, taking the ball and just keeping a little bit longer than he should have, or taking a shot in a very inopportune spot, or just losing the ball when he shouldn't have. And he's tightened those things up, cleaned them up, and you can really see how the squad is rallying around him. Again, getting his first goal away last week, you can see how happy the team was, and they rallied around him, said, hey, like, great job. This game probably was already going to be won, but thank you for that contribution, not just for us, but for you. We're here for you. And that's something that I've noticed that's different. This team is picking each other up, and all these new additions are definitely coming together and saying, hey, like, we're here to play and we're here to compete and we're here to go ahead and be part of this San Diego Sockers franchise.
Susan in the chat says Mendez reminds her of Juras, of Brandon Escoto. Yeah. I mean, I think that's exactly the role that he is plugging into. Now, he's not as relentless of a 1v1 attacker as Brandon is. Brandon will put the ball on his toe and just, take on a guy, do it over and over. I think Mendez is more of a speed burst, counterattack, coming down the floor at pace. So, slightly different stylistically, but you've got the left foot in both cases. You've got the shiftiness, you've got the speed, you've got the technicality, the foot skill. So, really exciting. And just following to the very next comment in the chat, Brandon has been out all season playing on the M2 squad. And in terms of questions of can he be back on the regular team by the end of the year? Well, how did it work out for Juan Rojo the last 2 years? Because he's in the same place. He's in the same situation. So I think right now your baseline expectation is for Brandon to play precisely 2 games this year at Chihuahua, and then maybe get a third if San Diego and Chihuahua happen to face one another in the national championship. But I don't know, man. When it comes to guys whose visas expire and trying to get that back, and now you've got an administration change, it wasn't easy before. It might be nigh upon impossible now.
Yeah, no, and look, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where do you really want to add a monkey wrench if you really need Brandon Escoto in an away match where maybe you have Sebastian Mendez, who has grown even better throughout the season and has grown a repertoire that extends to his cut in through the left foot shoot or try to go ahead and look out for an outlet. That's what Churras does give you. He's that X factor where it's unpredictable what he's going to be able to do because he can do anything that he can imagine. Whereas Mendez has this linear style about him and he's locked into his own way of being. He has to modify it a little bit more in order to be as dynamic as an Escoto, but he doesn't need to be Escoto. He needs to be Mendez. That's what he needs to be. He needs to be Sebastian Mendez at his best for the San Diego Sockers team to get the best out of him, and vice versa. For this team to really be a symbiotic and really utilize him as a weapon, Mendez needs to keep doing what he's doing and just keep on that track because he's still developing. We really, I don't think, have seen the best of him so far. We've seen flashes of him, and he's starting to get that gear. But it's going to go ahead and be really interesting if he does go into that 3rd, 4th, 5th next year that he has.
We're going to head into the recaps. First, I want to give out 2 quick shout outs and thank yous. The first is to soccer superfan Frank Saragosa, who quite often has gifted us with something coffee related over the years. He walked up a bag of Kona coffee grounds at our last match. He had been fighting Front Wave Arena security to get it into the arena to give away, but he did so, and I've been drinking it every day since, Frank, so appreciate you, man. We've got the little Keurig machine here at the house with the cups that you fill yourself with the coffee grounds, so I've been filling those up each morning, and big thanks to Frank Saragosa, Tony, who just loves the broadcast so much. Oh, what was that in your hand right there?
It's a little present from him, one of the 2, and I've told him that once we have a special occasion, I'm saving this cigar for a special occasion. And
oh, I like that.
I'm very, very good on these things where it's a reward not just for me, but for whoever wants to be around me at this time, just because it's probably a good time. So once again, thank you, Frank, for that, and I'm very much looking forward to that moment. And this is a really cool aspect of being part of this Sockers family, or as I've come to understand it, at Sockers Nation.
Oh yes, Sockers Nation. President Eli Zamora and Sockers Nation. Treasury Secretary Omar Lakivi. I'm sorry. We do have a running joke of the graphic that they show before every match that very prominently highlights 2 of the reserve players of the team. It's right up front, like join Sockers Nation, and it's just Eli, like he all like super serious, like a mugshot look to him. Then
I want opposing teams to just start wondering, where are those 2 guys? Like these Sockers, like they're just waiting and scouting and just having people outside of Front Wave waiting. Like, do we have any intel? Are they gonna just launch them at the end? Like, who are they? And just have that in the back of their mind.
Did we miss the scouting report? Who are these guys?
The Sockers usually turn in their lineups on time, so maybe we'll see.
Oh my goodness. Randy H says, any information on Eli? Where is he from? His past teams? Cal State, Monterey Bay, and El Camino High School. That's what I've got for you, Randy. Cal State, Monterey Bay, El Camino High School, Eli Zamora. Great to have the young man on the team. Great to have the young man on the team. My second shout out, and I'm actually quite confused. I got up right as the 2-minute timer started, Tony, and looked around because I'm afraid I've been organized to death back here in our very unorganized office. But shout out to former Sockers player Jeff Hughes, who played in the alumni game a couple of weeks back against Chihuahua, and then came up to our booth actually while we were still in the air. So I felt bad because he was like handing me something and saying something, and then the guy in my ear was going, highlights, 3, 2, 1. I was like, okay. But Jeff came up, and of course, you know, I was working full time in the Sockers office when Jeff first came to San Diego in the PASL and was part of the 3 MVP line with himself and Farber and Childs. And, you know, after that, he moved on. He played in Ontario for a while. He played here and there, you know, but Jeff's wife, Mary Beth, you know, worked with her for years in the front office. Now she's the director of game day at Front Wave Arena. And anyways, just out of nowhere on that game on the 5th, Jeff comes up and gives me one of his old Sockers jerseys, back the Bumblebee Tuna one, and autographed it, put a nice little note on it. He did personalize the autograph, so it does reduce the resale value, Jeff. I was kind of hoping just for a clean autograph, not saying to Craig, thank you for everything, blah, 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 because no one wants to buy that that's not named Craig. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I'm trying to sell your jersey on eBay, Jeff. No, I'm not. Actually, I was going to hold it up right now, but I'm afraid my wife organized it somewhere that I don't know where it is at this point. That's what I get for not organizing it myself. I had it literally draped on the back of this chair the last 2 episodes, Tony. And then I got up at the end of the show and looked back and was like, I forgot to pick up the jersey and say thank you, Jeff. Well, I'll do it tonight. It's still here. It's still in the house. Don't worry, Jeff. I haven't sold it yet. So, right. Appreciate you. I mean, yeah, you know, Chris Funk might bid on it. Gabe might bid on it. Well, you know, we'll get something going. Just, you know, text me if you know, you know. But anyways, just a couple of quick shout outs. Love everybody who supports our broadcast, Tony, who, you know, gives us wonderful feedback. It's always appreciated that we have this connection to the indoor soccer community.
Yeah, no, it's really special. It's a real family, and it feels more connected than it has in a while. Honestly, you know, just being able and being adjacent to the Sockers, there's something good and cool brewing here. And you know, we talk about, man, Oceanside, but Oceanside's starting to have its feel. It's starting to have its aura, its appeal, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. And hey, by the next match, maybe new turf.
Oh,
Maybe.
maybe we'll have
Nets?
some.
Do we really want nets?
I
Isn't it
don't
just
know.
more fun to be in harm's way? I mean,
100% no, but
yeah. I mean, where's the risk, Soccer's Nation? Why not, you know, sit in the risky seats? You've got the close seats and you've got the risky seats. Kind of like when you go to SeaWorld, you know, there's the safe zone and there's the soak zone.
yep.
The Sockers have the safe zone and the sock zone. You might get socked by a soccer ball if you sit in these particular areas, but, you know, enjoy the match.
I did see there was a running counter, much like we have in the booth, of the record of 4 panels being the most that have come off on a single shot. So 4 panels right now is the max. So I hope for Front Wave it doesn't exceed that. But yeah, that's it's going to be even more beautiful inside Front Wave Arena, hopefully. And I don't know, nets might get in the way.
I think they should put up the nets. Personally, I think they should put up the nets, but you know, it will take away one thing that we've enjoyed from each broadcast, which is tracking each shot to its conclusion. As in, yes, it's left the field, but where's it going now? It used to be once it left the field, that was it. No, now there's a destination.
I actually saw the fan real quick, that was hit, on our opposite side. At some point in the game, there was, some sort of clearance, and it did hit a fan. And she's actually somebody who's followed the loyal style, followed the Sockers, and takes her family. And she was like, "Oh, of course it had to be me, just right off the noggin." I'm like, "Are you okay?" Like, first I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine." So, just like the Sockers, our Sockers fans are just as tough.
Absolutely. We don't want to rotate the soccer fan lineup, but if we have to, we will. Please enjoy. And, and don't forget, at Front Wave Arena, your safety is our number one concern.
Number one.
Numero uno. With that, let's roll into the highlights. I'm sorry, I kid because I care. We'll start with Wednesday night's showdown, the Sockers and the Kansas City Comets. Certainly the worst crowd for a Sockers match, but it was a Wednesday night at 7:30. Also, we didn't have any sound in the first half, which neither Tony nor I had anything to do with. Now, as to the match itself, Sockers get off to a great start in this one. Tony, it was so encouraging. And we saw Gabi Costa there for 1-0, just rolling it through the defense. Ejimadu, no idea till the ball goes by him. I mean, he's like he's at the bus stop, just watching it roll past him for 1-0. But for the Sockers to get out not only to a solid offensive start, but also to get off to a great defensive start and build a multi-goal lead. What a huge momentum builder for San Diego.
Yeah, these are two teams that are defensive minded and have kept the scoring relatively low, but at the same time, you have to have the opportunities to go and be lethal with any window that you have. That's exactly what the Sockers did. It's good to see Gabi Costa get a goal underneath him like that, because that's one of the goals that it takes time, it takes patience to get it exactly right. Right here, Charlie Gonzalez, you have to take the shot at the end of the day. You have to create chaos inside the box. Whether you hit it off the goalkeeper, it rolls in, it still counts just as much. So, Charlie, just another set piece intervention there.
Yeah, really well done. Charlie's been boffo on set pieces. Big match for Boris Pardo, especially in the second quarter. This sequence, absolutely outstanding as he has just left 1v1, makes that save. Here he's 1v1 again, really 2v1 right there with two attackers. Point blank, he was fired up in this match. Things got actually in the last few minutes of the second quarter got pretty emotional, but here we have 3-0. Again, Costa finding Childs on the back post. This was where Craig really figured out how to just eat by sitting on the back post in this match, Tony. And at his age and his level of knowledge, it's not the worst thing. It's a pretty good thing.
It's almost a matter of just get it there to him and he'll just tap it in. Like, and Craig is usually directing traffic and really having to be in places to make these plays happen. But now that he can rely on his team to make these looks and have this vision, it's going to be a great time if it continues there for Craig.
Now, Kansas City gets one importantly back toward the end of the second quarter. And I think pretty fair to say that Boris Pardo was interfered with on this play by number 16, Ramirez of Kansas City. Now, the play was not reviewed by the officials. Did the Sockers burn their challenge already in this match? I forget whether they did or not. Nonetheless, there you see Boris standing up again. Could have given up a second there. Huge plays right there. He was like screaming at the ref and the other players as that happened. And the game winds up staying at 3-1. Scary moment here for Mikey Lennis, who was down. And it took a while. He was down. And according to some people that I talked to, Tony, he was out for a little while.
Yeah, no, just hard contact there. Nothing for Leo to get away from there. Sorry.
No, not at all. So anyways, we just wish the best to Mikey Lennis. A little crash play here for Kansas City, getting the ball down to Rion Marquez. He has an open look at goal. That's right, Randy. They challenged and it took too long, and then they threw it away. Brilliant stuff. Nonetheless, 3-2 right there. Starting to get a little bit nervous because the Sockers at this point have gone about 20 plus minutes without a goal. And then seeing the second one go in, you realize, hey, Kansas City, they dominated the fourth quarter in each of the two matchups last year. Is that going to be the case again this year? I know there's the storyline that we had. And hey, you know what? 3-2 becomes 3-3 just like that. Too casual. No teamwork right there, getting out of the back. Double team comes to steal the ball away. from Keiko and gets put into the middle for 3-3. Now it's anybody's game. Pardo comes up with a huge save to keep it at threes. And then the moment, critical moment right there, Ejimadu gets too far out of his crease, gets a little confused. Keiko Gontan gets the steal. Ejimadu has no play but to just yank him down. Shootout. Craig Childs knows what to do on a shootout, Tony. One step, one touch, kapow. And 4-3.
Yeah, knowing exactly how to weight that ball with the bottom of your foot to give you enough time, because there is only 5 seconds for the goalkeeper to set himself, show you exactly where he's going to decide to stay. And that's an all-star goalkeeper. You just put the ball past anyway, so that you had to be ready. So great job by Craig Childs there.
4-3, Keiko to Mendez. Big save, Ejimadu looking for the handball outside the crease. The call is made. It's yes. It's a handball outside the crease. It's a shootout. It's Childs for number 2. Oh, uh-oh. He just went to the same playbook right there. He didn't go to the B play, but the ensuing power play, and there he is. We'll take care of the business on the back door instead. Childs is waiting. He is lurking. That was actually like 2 seconds after the power play was complete. So it didn't count as a power play goal, but nonetheless, it was a goal. 5-3. And really, same play as we saw earlier in the game, right, Tony? Costa with a shot pass, finding Childs on the back door.
Yeah, just get it to him. That's all he needs. And Childs has enough power on that right leg to just put it anywhere he likes. And you know what? Unselfish by Childs. I won't get a goal via shootout. I'll just go ahead and let somebody have an assist for me.
Soccer's up 2. Tavoy tries to make it 3. Great save by Ejimadu earlier. Pardo with a big save on Marquez. And then coming in on left wing, absolute rip right there. I think it was Tetsane for 5-4. Still time for Kansas City to find an equalizer, but it's Mendez time.
Oof.
Things get close. Perfect feed. It was just seconds later. It was on literally the next shift. And there it was, Sebastian's first home goal, Tony. And it had felt like he was kind of unplugged from the attack, but right there, just honestly very poor defending by Kansas City, leaving the guy at the top of the arc totally unmarked for 6-4. Christian comes crashing in against 6 attackers, makes it 7-4. Lovely, as usual, self-sacrificing run by Christian Gutierrez. Thankful that there were no wacky things happening at the end of this match. Kansas City and San Diego have gotten into it the last couple of seasons at home. So even though that was a pretty hard tackle right there, Soccer's come out with a 7-4 win. This was, stacking on the back of the Chihuahua result to get to this result, Tony. Very, very impressive to see the Soccers, for the most part, give KC credit. They were in it all the way. They made the comeback from 3-0. Down 5-3, they did pull one back. But Soccers essentially played from the lead the entire match, and every time that Kansas City answered back, the Soccers had a return answer.
And I think, people who watched last year's Soccers can see several moments where you have to have that memory and say, we've been here before. And it's not a good place to be for the Soccers, because you saw the way that they just lost control of certain games. In the Chihuahua game, you saw, oh, here they come. Here comes Chihuahua. Here's where the Soccers lose gas. Here's where the Soccers did. Nope, they didn't. They held on and they won. This is another game where that exact thing happened. Oh man, here comes Kansas City. Last year, this is where Kansas City turned it around in their season. They know how to take it to the Soccers. They were just playing possum for 2 quarters, and no, the Soccers came through once again, got the victory. So that's something that I really like from this team so far, is that they're gritty and they will grind it out. It's not the prettiest of victories sometimes, and it hasn't been this season, but they are able to get the job done. And at the end of the day, that's what makes a championship caliber team. You have to get those ugly victories. And if you have most of those, yeah, certainly you're going to run out of luck. And it'd be nice to go ahead and destroy in, multiple dozens of goals in abundance like Chihuahua does. But the points is still the same. You're still keeping up and still top of the table.
Absolutely. Huge 7-4 win. Super encouraging. Definitely a potential momentum builder. And we thought, okay, that was the big game. Now you got Texas at home, 0-5. 22 goals for, 60 against, kind of a brutal team. But as we were waiting outside the locker room pre-match, David Ortiz pokes his head in, says, "Hey, how's it going? Hey, Vic Moore's here too. We got our whole team. First time all year, got our whole team." I don't know that the Sockers were expecting that, Tony, nor were they expecting that goal early on to get things started from Eric Macias for 1-0. A goal that I'd actually like to, I wouldn't mind seeing it again. In that apparently Boris said after the match, this hits Gutierrez's foot. Maybe it deflected off of his foot for that 1-0. Well, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's rack it back and see, because I remember at the time we thought it had a funny knuckleball aspect to it.
Mhm.
So that does kind of, maybe it does make sense. Maybe that was a deflected
Yeah.
goal.
We'll see this second look from the back from behind. Boris, yeah, he was not happy about that. Like I wouldn't at all. Like the way the trajectory happened, it just looked weird. It looked odd from where we were sitting. It
Yeah,
does.
maybe it did.
Yeah.
Maybe it did. Maybe it took a little deflection off that foot. So 1-0 Texas. Okay, weird, fluky goal. No big deal. We're going to drop the hammer on these dudes at any point. No, we're not. In fact, this game would get a little bit loose, a little confused. There's a just terrible play by Tavoy giving the ball away to Vic Moore. Boris Pardo has to save his bacon right there. Floor opens up, 2v1. Great save. Jesus Rivera played legit in net for Texas. And then here come two rookies. How does that ball get across a San Diego Sockers defense from the wall all the way to the back post, taking 3 Sockers out of the play on the pass? That was a disappointing moment in the season. Obviously a brief one, but a bummer.
A lot of flat feet there in running back, right? There's effort aspect that you're kind of asking and saying, well, I think so and so could have gotten there. I think so and so could have had a little bit more pressure, could have thrown the body a little bit more. But either way, right now, Sockers are stunned, and they were certainly looking like it.
Yes, they were. It was not what you were hoping to see in any shape or form. But San Diego's going to get the opportunity to get back into this thing. Not before Boris gets another opportunity to make a huge save. Could have been 3-0 right there. Now you start to get back into it. Luis Morales passes it off the wall. Boy, he just dribbled around everybody, including the goalkeeper. But now you get to top of the arc. That's an inexperienced team, letting Tavoy sneak in there to a scoring position unmarked, untouched. The pass path was unchecked, and that was a pretty routine goal for 2-1.
Yeah, I love the little stutter step that he does with that left foot of his, just taking the patience into consideration. And that's enough for the goalkeeper just to stop the body language reading and not know where the ball is going to go, freeze him in place, and to avoid classic there.
Ruggles with a great chance right in front of the net. So far, Drew's got 1 scoring game, but it was a hat trick. That was cool. So we appreciate that if you're going to score in threes. Good slide tackle there. Winds up kind of becoming a much more even match. Pardo making some big saves along the way in the second quarter. Ball bouncing everywhere. I mean, this isn't exactly attractive soccer, what we're watching right now, but then that's attractive. Tavoy getting it out to Christian, right back to him. And that's the thing about the Outlaws matches, Tony. I mean, there's going to be these moments that look like elementary school stuff, and yet they're out there running around like chickens with their heads cut off. They're playing full intensity, not really knowing what they're doing, so to speak. So sometimes you get these moments where everybody looks at the same pass and 3 guys run at the same ball, and you get other times where they just look very fit and determined.
And you have to be ready for those moments, right? Because other teams will present that. Even the best of teams will have moments that will present these slight windows, but you have to take advantage. And if you don't practice them with, say, a Texas Outlaws, then you're not going to have an opportunity to really capitalize when the moment does present itself, whether, again, that be here, Corner Sport Arena, wherever it is. You have to be ready for that unpredictability.
Great find of Gutierrez off the bench. He finds Childs on the back post. And as we said on the broadcast at this moment, Tony, all of a sudden it's kind of a revisionist history situation where you look back, oh, well, yeah, the Sockers won that half 3-2. Watching those 30 minutes, you didn't feel like the Sockers won that half. You felt like they lost it 2 times over. But at the end, it's not how, it's how many. 3-2 San Diego.
And it's a moment where you really think like, well, you could have done this the whole time. Why didn't we just do this in the first quarter? Like, this is something that was there to begin with. Just take care of business at the start, at the top. That way you can relax a little bit on the back foot. But you know what? Credit to Texas and what they brought today or that day.
Steven Gonzalez getting that steal. Golasso for 3-3. Just the steal on the Kaiser Permanente logos. 1 touch to settle the ball. Upper corner of the net. Look at how Pardo chucks this ball. He is pissed. Normally he goes and sets it down at center shield. He was pissed. But Sockers come right back. Big play. 4-3. Instant answer from Charlie. And he and Costa playing well. Then the moment Boris Pardo had passed 34 minutes, gets taken out of the match. First keeper in MASL history to reach 10,000 minutes played. I believe Toth has either subsequently made it to 10,000, I think in the Tacoma-Milwaukee game. But nonetheless, great moment there for all of the Sockers players to fet Boris Pardo and for the fans to get a chance to cheer him on as well. Then Sockers got a power play. Texas doesn't know how to build a wall, top of the arc. They left the entire right side of the net open for, again, one of the most routine goals you'll see in the sport. Here you are, professional player. Would you like to kick it in from the line? Oh, you mean you're just going to, give me that side of the net? Okay. I mean, at training, it's this open at training, honestly. What's 18 doing here? Nothing. Nothing.
It's just enjoying the game.
Doing. Macias has a beautiful look at the action.
It's like, wow, front wave really is nice, guys.
Sure is. Xavier Snare-Williams now in. Here's where things break down on the right side of the Sockers defense down low. As you can see, they're all pointing at one another going, wait, you had him. I thought you had him. Juan Salazar got caught in the middle of that and had nobody. And it was a 5-4 match, right back into it. But now watch this move, Mendez. How many times did he try that in the match? 3 or 4 times. But that was the one where it was inch perfect, got the exact right touch to spin it out to the top of the arc, cuts it back, and blasts it home for 6-4.
And that's what you need to focus the skill, right? If you have to go to the well, you know it's going to work, then that's fine. Just understand there will be pressure when you don't. When you lose it right there, that seemed like a heavy touch when he set himself up for his left to begin with, but he was able to catch up and just lace it through. And you know what? It ended up working. So credit to him for keep trying and being consistent and honestly being stubborn about that play style and that play specifically.
Indeed. So 6-4 San Diego. Texas scrapes one back. 6-5. I'm huffing and puffing on the air. Give the Outlaws credit. Team that won't go away. Oligwe just left alone down there. Nice shot. Good accuracy by Vic Moore right there to pick out that top corner and slot it inside the net. Still a match. 6-5. But the Sockers will find the goal that will settle things down. Tavoy, lovely touch in there from Charlie. Really intricate to get that ball and to keep it moving, to keep Tavoy on pace. Tony, I think so many times you would attempt that pass in and it might hit the back of the heel of the man or it might get caught in between their legs. But Charlie's accuracy right there is the reason for the goal.
And it's not so much that Charlie isn't playing just well. Like, he's the metronome of this team. Like, if he is firing on all cylinders, that's great. But if he's just taking his time and being the visionary and the architect of this squad, then the Sockers are going to be A-okay and just fine. But the fact that he's also getting his own offensive production is really a sign of better things to come for this team, because once you have him contributing, Costa contributing, then you have Gontan whenever he gets some field time and really kind of starts developing his style of play. And then you add Morales, you add Tavoy, you add Childs when you need him in the back post. Go for it. Hey, I need a clutch moment. Just throw Childs, just stand over there and he'll get it done. This again is very exciting for what the Sockers are proposing here in the mid almost mid-season. Casi.
Yeah, well, we're getting close. We're past the 1/3 mark now, so getting closer to the midway point. 4-point game for Charlie, and I'll just say, tagging that in the first couple of matches of the season, there were moments within matches where I think I was somewhat critical of a play Charlie made, not of the player, not of his desire, his will, or anything, but it turned out he was nursing a lower body injury at the start of the year. What looked like it could have been a fitness thing was a more of a can you run full speed thing. But Charlie has been absolutely dynamite. He's been everything that you wanted. He has a role on this team. It's not to be the superstar defender on the team. It's to be a facilitator. It's to be a free kick master. It's to be the guy on the back end of the pass, setting things up. And he leads the team in assists. He's tied for the team lead in points. So, big ups to Juan Carlos, Charlie Gonzalez, right back on pace, kind of on his career pace in terms of his scoring and his contributions to the club.
Yeah, I love it. He's definitely an important player, and I mean, he's one that you need to have informed. That's somebody you cannot lose to injury. You cannot lose. He's just an important, pivotal player. And I also want to give a shout out to Gutierrez. I mean, just in general, like he's just a stalwart player. Just he's one of these players that gives it everything every single game, and sometimes gets pummeled for it, gets rewarded in goals. But he's definitely somebody who I know soccer fans appreciate, but I think he needs to be appreciated a little bit more, even just the sacrifice that he does and how hard he works as an individual. And he's a true leader.
Couldn't agree more. Critical player to this team, Christian Gutierrez. And on many other teams, he would be a primary scorer and he would be asked to do things entirely differently than what he does here. But here, he is the defensive rock of this team. I mean, other than Cardenas, Serta, Pee Wee, like the actual defenders, Raymond, I think Christian is the next most important defensive player on the entire team. And he was a defensive forward the last several years, and this year he's playing much more as a defensive midfielder. But we still know what his role is at the end of the match when it's 6v5, when the Sockers are facing a sixth attacker with an empty net. He's the guy who makes the big block, the big run, who puts things away. So I agree. Great tip of the cap there to Gutierrez. So a win on Wednesday, a win on Friday, 1 day off on Saturday, light training Sunday, and then Monday up to Ontario's Toyota Arena to take on the Empire Strikers for a 6:30 p.m. Match. New kits, a third kit, a black kit unveiled by the Sockers. Little kind of like hexagonal patterny thing that's in there. 1-0 Empire on a goal by Oliveira, but there's Keiko Gontan, who has just a dynamite start to this match, Tony, including that point blank blaster. Love how he uses his leg to get this one high from very close range. Usually you kick this right into the middle of the keeper, but look how Keiko scooped under that ball. That was pro, baby.
Yeah, that's such a midfielder way to play, an outfield player too, just setting yourself up. It's a three-dimensional space, even as close space as it is, and it's such a joy to see him work and his mind just go through the game in these tight spaces and in moments. And man, he's really special when it comes to it. Like there's a reason he played in La Liga.
No, there is, and he sets up the goal for 2-1. Lovely run right down the middle, gets the steal, so much in control, heading into the crease. That one got actually partially blocked. It would have been a goal for Gontan. Orozco got a touch on it. Or actually, De Lima, pardon me, got a touch on it. There's Morales to clean it up. Now here's Seb Mendez. Mendez with the steal. He's going to do it all himself. Look at the stutter step. Oh, the deke. And then puts it in. He's funny. Like the way he runs, he reminds me of the Flintstones. The legs. Like, and then he goes. Looks like he's got marbles on the bottom of his shoes, but it's a lot of fun. Sneaky, and very technical for 3-1.
Yeah, I love it. Love seeing him play. He looks like a kid too. Like I had a second take of the other day. I was like, who's this? Who's this kid in the back? Oh, that's Sebastian. Oh, wow.
Now here's Fabian. Oh boy, that's one Xavier wants back. It hits both of his hands. He basically punches it into his own net. 3-2.
It happens.
It happens. It's not going to be every day. Here comes Tavoy right down the middle. Find him and he will eat. So I've said this before, but I think Tavoy's got to have one of the most severe touch to goal ratios in the league
Yeah.
in terms of the fewest touches for the most goals. He's such a one-touch artist.
Such an efficient player where everything is almost accidental, but you have to look at the way he plays and you're like, no, that was intentional, but it might just be both. And he just makes it happen. That's his style. And that's the Tavoy Morgan style, is being efficient and doing the most with a little bit, because it's either he's fouled or he has a look for goal.
Gabi Costa for 5-2, rattling it off the keeper here. Actually off the defender as well, keeper and defender. Morales was waiting to clean anything up if he had to, but he didn't have to. Soccer's had 2 different 3-goal runs in this match. Here comes the third of the 3-goal run. Well, look at that backheel pass from Tavoy. Are you kidding
Oof.
me?
Oof.
Sucio.
That's beautiful. That's you can't buy that. That's just talent right there. It's just instinct. That's just being a real baller, man. Like just having that movement. You pull up defender at the same time. Like it's poetry in motion.
Que sucio. 6-2, San Diego. Empire gets one. Stinger stings. He's good. He scores goals. Justin Stinson to the left. Yikes. Again, almost X, almost. Hand extended. Not quite there. 6-3. Sebastian Mendez into the empty net. Net was empty the whole quarter.
But they got it. We've been asking for that. Be better when there's no keeper. Please be better. And if this is what it is, sure. Another question. I'm happy with that. Like, finally, it went in after so many tries this year.
Yeah, Mendez is on a roll. Here's, bing bang in the shooting gallery with 6 attackers. Empire gets one back, curving this way, that way. Fish on the deck, flopping around everywhere. Final seconds, long one goes in, partially screened, whatever. That is 7-5, but that's your final score. 7-5. San Diego gets the dub, completes 3 wins in 6 days, and improves to 8-1 on the season. And out of all of it, I come back to, as the chat is chatting about too, I come back to Mendez. Literally a week ago, we said the Sockers need to get Sebastian Mendez unlocked. He's there, and we were really hoping that fourth quarter up in Tacoma was the moment that got him rolling, got the Pringles can open. And that's exactly what happened. He is now contributing, and you can see the confidence flowing. I think he had absolutely no confidence in his shot the first 4 or 5 matches. He would not have even tried probably that shot from half court to put in the empty netter. But now he's got that confidence that everything he's going to do is going to work right.
Yeah, and it's good that he, found himself, and it's not necessarily him doing anything different. And that's a testament to, again, his own belief in his style and himself. Essentially, is really, there's moments where you could just say, okay, I'll just adapt to what makes it better. I'll just pass it back. I'll have that patience, or also do the smart decision. If that's not there, I'm also not going to try to force it through a forest of legs. But I think I can get it. And if I just try differently and be persistent, then it's going to go ahead and work. And it's been working out. But I think that those moments as well have decreased, where he's just going to be stubborn, and I'm just going to try and just do it and lose the ball. And then here's a counterattack, Sockers give up a dangerous play and knock it on. But no, he's really just become that Mendez that we've been asking for. So just great overall. And that was game.
Hey, the next guy, the next guy is Morales, because really, and I talked to a couple people at the arena last week about this. Luis hasn't been able to train with this team for almost any stretch. A very little bit at the beginning of the year, and then he starts off with 7 goals in 3 matches. Then he goes to Kings. Then he gets shut out for a match. He goes to Kings Cup. He comes back. He's sick. He's still not able to train with the team, even though he's back, because he's sick for almost a whole week. And then he comes back and he's basically poured into the game. No training, no working with the guys, and he was ineffective for the most part. And I'd say over the course of the week, Luis Morales was generally ineffective. He got 1 goal, no assists. over the course of those matches. Uh, but you and I saw it together. Right now, Luis is playing as a man alone. He's a man on an island. There's no connectivity between he and the team. It's like tossing the ball to Allen Iverson on a clear out, and then four people take their spots in the four corners, and then you've got the middle of the field to work. That's basically what's been happening for Morales. It's get him the ball, everyone stands, and then Morales does his moves, and he's either going to beat his defender or not. He's either going to get to his shot or not. That shot is either going to get blocked or it won't. But it's all a singular thing. It's a 1v1 play. One defender can handle it. A second defender can come in to support, and everyone else is basically a signpost, on the side of the road. What we need to start seeing, and it's only going to come with time, training, chemistry, and connectivity, Tony, is Luis Morales letting the ball go and making a run off of his pass, setting up 1-2s, getting assists. I know he's a scorer more than he is an assist man, but just a little bit of give it to get it back is what you need from Morales. And as soon as he and Tavoy, if it's possible, to get those two guys humming on both ends of the forward line at the same time, the Sockers will become an unstoppable offense if that happens.
Yeah, there's only one ball. That's something my parents used to always say, "Why don't they just give a ball to everybody? Everybody would be happy." Well, that's not the point. There's only one ball, and they have to share it. And like you said, if Tavoy and Morales can unlock that next gear of, hey, we are going to go ahead and play some team association, futsal, indoor soccer. Like, let's make this happen. And a lot of the style that Morales that you're saying is from that futsal mentality, where it's a very individualistic style of soccer, where you know what, you can take out 5 players, and guess what? That's it. Like, it's a very close quarter space. You have to find yourself out of a paper bag, and you have to finish on your own. But here you have teammates, you have space, you have time to go ahead and make those runs. And yeah, the flashes of individuality that Morales have shown is because of those skills that he relies on. But it's a moment where, hey, it's okay. Trust Tavoy. Like, he's a similar situation with you. He's going to look for goals. But Tavoy also, as you saw, has developed and grown. Last year, he was growing in the assist sense, and this year he's still doing that. But has a little bit more of the lethal eye and getting his own goals as well. Like, he's found that balance, and I think whatever it is that Mendez did in adjusting to this San Diego Soccer style of play is what needs to be just spoken with Morales and just adapted, because clearly there was a jump in an understanding that Mendez has now gone with and undertaken. But I just say, yeah, it's just going to be a matter of time before this happens. And if I'm saying Mendez is a catalyst to this, then that's what it has to take. But if not, then you know what? I think you keep working with what's working. And if it doesn't mean, we don't force a Tavoy Morales situation. Don't be forced in that, and you have to throw 5 attackers at once because you're down 2 goals in the last minute of playoffs. Like, just don't be in that situation to begin with.
Let's roll into MASL news. Huge week for the Sockers. 9 out of 9 points. They roll all sevens, 7-7-7 in the 3 games, and they get 3 points each time, 3-3-3 added up. Okay, MASL news. Start off with a standings check. Sockers now remain on pace for top of the table. They sit at 23 through 9, only 4 conceded. Chihuahua, 26 through 10, 4 points conceded. Baltimore, 20 through 8, 4 points conceded. These 3 teams all could claim to, either a shot at the best record in the league or the best record in the league. And, while we talk about home road disparity, take a look at that for Chihuahua, Tony. 2/3 of their home matches have been spent already this season. There are 14 matches left to be played, and it is going to be 10 of the 14 on the road for Chihuahua.
Yeah, and that's definitely a matter of the rest of the league taking care of business when Chihuahua does come over to your side, to your arena, because whether or not you will like it or not, a trip to Chihuahua is not going to be the happiest of times for most of the teams in this league, if any. At this point, it's going to be a miserable time. So just cut your losses or try your absolute best and see what happens. Play hard, get some miles in there. That's what Tacoma did over there. They said, you know what, Nick Pereira, I'm just going to be a coach today. I'm just gonna Chris Toth. We'll see. We'll just throw the stars out there and see what happens. But yeah, that's something that Chihuahua is also very cognizant of. Is they had to get as many points, as many goals in the beginning and the top of the season to get that advantage. But look, the Sockers are right there, and that's a really good sign to see. And it's a really interesting take too now with a full 12-1 league standings as well, where again every game matters, and you're looking across the league about did they win, did they lose, was it hard fought, who got injured, like because these games have some heft and weight to
They do. You know, I won 109 goals for the Savage is crazy, but you really do have to break it down and talk about around 13 goals per game at home and around 3 to 4 goals per game on the road, because that's what it's been for the Savage. Later this week, Chihuahua is at Kansas City, and I think that's going to be a really interesting test for the Savage. Now, last thing I want to say about this, look, it's still early season, it's still early days, right? You know, Utica hasn't had Oliveira for most of this 7-match run. They'll move up the standings. 8 through 12 is a hot, almost cursed mess. That's a hot mess down there. None of those teams deserve to go to the playoffs. One of them will, with a terrible record. And that'll be the actual prize for finishing first in the league will be that your first single elimination match in the quarterfinal is going to be against a really subpar team. But honestly, I think there's a pretty serious tier that's developing now. I think you've got a tier that's the top 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. And then there's a pretty solid gap from 5 to 6. 6 and 7 can sit in their own tier of sort of contenders, pretenders. Although I still give Utica the opportunity with Oliveira to take a step forward.
Yeah.
And then 8 through 12 are not competing. Those are 5 franchises, none of whom are competing. There's one in there that's trying, Tacoma.
Yeah. They're trying.
They have lost 7 in a row. They are trying. They are trying their damnedest. And I will pick Tacoma to finish 8th. I just eventually they'll find a win here or there. Look, they've only had 3 home matches. You know, the balance issue is something that you can kind of see when you're looking at the stats. Sidekicks, undefeated at home, winless on the road, you know, so on and so forth. But that's how I see the standings. Last point, quick point. Normally, this would be so important. You'd hear me saying it each week. Every point matters. This Chihuahua match in KC is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. The way it's set up this year, the Sockers want to face Chihuahua in the first or second round.
Yeah.
Because that's one match at home. So a table that finishes with San Diego 1, Chihuahua 2, or Chihuahua 1, San Diego 2, that's actually a bad table for San Diego. Because it means they won't get the chance for the quarterfinal, semifinal home field advantage that they have paid for and built in to the season. And instead, they'll be subject to going down to Corner Sport Arena, where everyone gets their head kicked in. So, in a funny way, the Sockers should either finish first or third, or like first or fourth. It's wild. It's wild. Any other year, we'd be going, you got to finish ahead of Chihuahua. It's all about the standings race, every point, every single game. This is so important. And actually, this year, it's more of like, can we just have a little separation one way or the other?
Yeah. Be the best. Like I think we all would love to be one at least. But then I also see that slippery slope of like, well, if they kind of aim for third, I don't want them to aim for third and land in fourth and just kind of like just take it a little bit too easy and not too much off the gas and find yourself in a weird spot where now you're facing a team that thinks that they're inspired and thinks that they can knock you out on the first in the one and done game. And you know, you just need an inspired team to face. And at that point, it's almost any given Sunday situation where anybody can beat anybody. Just don't give any other team a reason to take out the Sockers, who are a clear favorite. But yeah, that's an interesting thing. 1 or 3? I'll take 1, Craig. One con todo.
But here's the thing: if you finish 1, Chihuahua might finish 2, and then it's a mess. But if you finish 3rd, you're probably going to get to face Chihuahua in the first 2 rounds. Anyways, it's not something that anyone can concern themselves with. It's just something that did occur to me, that it would be ironic and in that way darkly funny if the Sockers and Savage just were in the same building for 3 days but never met one another, and then wound up facing each other in the finals instead of the semis. But that is months away, literally months away. Okay, a couple other things real quick. I really don't have anything concrete to say about this. Frank Tayu's been suspended in St. Louis, and or he left the team and then they announced a suspension. I think it's probably the latter and not the former. I did reach out to the King. I've not heard back from him. He has no reason to spill the beans to me or to us. So totally understood. Godspeed to you, King. He has been posting on Instagram, pithy commentary, as he is wont to do. There's always a cryptic nature to Frank's posts, hence his name, the Impossible Artist. He can be a bit impossible at times, but he posted most recently, just I think it was yesterday or the day before, a picture of him being with the team, including the team owner, in the locker room, and don't rush the process was on that one. The magic hasn't disappeared was also in there. He also came to one of his most recent matches in a kilt and holding a small teddy bear. See that?
That is indeed exactly what that was. Like that, you did not. Yeah, actually, you were spot on with exactly. That's incredible. Like it's like reaching in. What do you feel? Oh, it feels like a teddy bear and a kilt. Like, no, there's no way. And then it was. Oh, okay.
Now those shoes are tight.
I could never pull that off.
No, you could not. Frank can't either, but he sure did. Oh my Lord. Anyways, I hope everything's okay with Frank, and we'll see. It seems like each year there's a new travail and a new travel, but hopefully things are cool with the King, and we'll find out. Tacoma and Milwaukee. I was watching this match. Watched almost the whole thing, not every single moment, but almost the whole thing. It was a very exciting match, a lot of fun, back and forth. Tacoma came to play. They were determined to end their 6-match losing streak. They were really balling out. They had the lead multiple times in Milwaukee. The Wave fought back. The Wave got the equalizer. They actually had a chance to win in the final seconds of regulation. William Bonahene was called for a handball outside the zone. It was a proper call. He had to go to the penalty box. Augie Ray came in ice cold off the bench to face a shootout and defended it. Got the save. And go along, Super Mario Alvarez scores the match winner. Here that is. They were wearing these blue and white striped things, which was okay.
Some say there were numbers in the back. I don't know.
I guess so. Hard to say, but apparently so at close range. So those are some weird kits. I probably wouldn't buy that one, but nonetheless, all good on you guys on the Wave. Picking up the win 6-5. Then there was a scrap after the match. A soccer scrap. No, you know how that is. Slap fighting and jostling, pushing. Oh, what do you know? Stefan Mijatovic in the middle of it. Who would think a kid of his sterling reputation and high character, as proven by incident over incident, year over year, week over week. As you can see, he is getting into it with Laval of the Wave.
San Diego Loyal legend for one preseason game.
Indeed. Never forget. Never forget. All this kerfuffling carried on now. They get back into it, a rejoining, the dancing.
It's clear. Bench cleared. Like that's how I saw this at this point. I'm like, okay, bench is cleared, tempers flare. But that's not what took. Like, it's this moment where it's just, oh, this is different.
Mijatovic racing to the tunnel, jumping over the wall to get into it with a dude. Apparently, he said some horrible things after the match. I did not hear them. People said they were horrible. He has been disciplined for them, so I'll take it for that. This is what the commissioner came out with today. You can find it on the MASL socials. It says, from the office of the commissioner, after conducting a thorough investigation into the in-game and post-game conduct of the Tacoma Stars and Milwaukee Wave on Saturday, January 18th, the MASL commissioner's office and disciplinary review committee have reached the following decisions. All MASL players and staff and league personnel are expected to always demonstrate professionalism and self-discipline, regardless of whether extenuating circumstances exist. Roman Torres of the Stars, post-game red card for violent conduct, undisclosed fine, 2 penalty points, and a 1-match suspension to be served this weekend. Luis Birueta, backup goalkeeper of the Stars, due to post-game violent conduct, being issued a 1-match suspension, 2 penalty points, and an undisclosed fine, again to be served this weekend. Stefan Mijatovic, 4-match suspension as the result of his in-game and post-game conduct and for making unprofessional, offensive, and abusive language and comments in-game and post-game. Remember, this is the same guy who yanked the dread out of a guy's head last year and then just held it up like, ha. In addition, here we go, continuing on. In addition to the 4-match suspension, which will be served immediately, and due to the fact that Stefan Mijatovic was previously put on a league probation, Mijatovic will also be issued an undisclosed fine, 2 penalty points, and will need to complete an anger management course and provide the league with a certificate of completion.
All right.
An anger management course.
Interesting. He's a sweetheart.
Anger management course.
Well, that can mean an online anger management course at this point. Here, watch this video, certificate of completion. Did you watch this video? Yes. Thank you. Congratulations. You passed the test. Show it to the league. All right, here you go. Like that's what that could mean. Or it's again, I see this through an HR side of things. Just how did HR handle this and what the realistic aspects are of 2025 fines and disciplinary actions in the MASL look like. So I don't know. He gets a second paragraph all on his own on this release. That should be telling on its own.
Everybody in the league I respect as being a competitor and an athlete and somebody trying to, do their business. You have a very limited shelf life as a professional athlete, even in a lower league such as the Major Arena Soccer League. There's so much athletic pride. There's so much at stake. There's so much at stake in someone's career. And so I want to say that as the baseline to say that Stefan Mijatovic is putting all of that at risk by doing things on the floor that are completely counter to the spirit of the match. And in our personal experience, beyond and above what we have seen professionally, Stefan Mijatovic has a bad habit of running his mouth off the floor as well and saying cruel, insulting things, being unnecessarily cruel. He holds himself in extremely high esteem, and others less so. And I think it's really disappointing that a player like that can stain a league like this with his behavior. Last season, he jumped onto the Sockers bench to incite a violent confrontation. Somehow, inexplicably, Tavoy got blamed for it. Like, there were things about, did Tavoy kick somebody below the bench or what? Mijatovic jumped into the Sockers bench. It was one of the most provocative things I've ever seen at an indoor soccer match. Now he jumped over a wall to chase someone down to try and strike them physically. So, there's some players whose behavior really short circuits their potential for athletic success. And he is one of those players. And listen, Derek Huffman has been one of those players too for the Milwaukee Wave. He got a post-game red card for violent conduct, 2 penalty points, because he was on probation for the last time he got suspended. Instead of a 1-match suspension, he got a 2-match suspension on missed the next 2 Wave matches. Tenzin Rampa misses a match. Kudus Lawal misses a match. Really, it's Mijatovic who gets, the worst of it, but it's Mijatovic who deserves the worst of it. And, I just, he's been on our side of the country now, first with Empire last year and now with Tacoma. And I've just been really disappointed in his behavior in what I've seen. And I'm sure saying something like that, Stefan, if he's hearing it, will not internalize his mistakes and his behavior and consider taking responsibility for his actions. He'll lash out and say, why are you talking? Why are you hating? Why you got to put my name in your mouth? So on and so forth. I get it. You're a young guy. You're fired up. Something happened to make you mad. You've been involved in violent conduct each of the last 2 years, multiple incidents. Stefan, you're going to play your way out of this league. You're going to be going playing cash games in TJ. You're going to be going and playing cash games in Vegas, getting red cards there, and grumbling, and everyone's going to go, well, this guy's so good. This guy's so good. Why is he here? And the answer, because you did it to yourself. And, I've made plenty of mistakes in my life, opening my mouth, saying something stupid, doing something that I regretted, over time. And age will help you realize the mistakes you're making. But in the moment, you can make the mistake that ends a career. And I think you're right on the verge of that now. So think about it. Anger management, that still makes me laugh. They're going to go watch the Jack Nicholson movie and then get a certificate when you return the video to the warehouse, or to Tower Records. Is that how it, I mean, I don't know about that. That sounded like something that would come out of Office Space, but hopefully it sticks, because he's a really talented player. He should be an impact player in this league, but he can't be an all-star. He can't be a face of the league, because just like Derek has had a hard time being in that, even though he's an excellent player, because temper issues, self-inflicted wounds take you out of your sport, take you out of your career. And I feel you, Kelsey. I mean, he's almost 30. Listen, I'm 52, so he's still young. All right. He's still young. He's got in indoor, he could play for 9 more years.
Yeah.
Easily, and make some money and have some fun. Maybe lift a cup at some point. He's got that kind of talent. You'd want him on your team. You'd want him on your team for his bite, for his toughness, for his size, for his shot, for the compete that he brings to the floor on a night-by-night basis. But he's hurting his career with his behavior. And I actually agree with Keith. I think 4 games is light. And just the way I've seen the league penalize people like Tavoy and Brandon.
And Boris last year.
And Boris for things way under this. I don't think it's an even application. I agree with Kelsey. If this was Tavoy, it'd be done for the year.
Yeah.
Yes.
If
you don't like that, Keith, I'm sorry. I mean, the application of the rules was really weird the last couple of years, and then when you get 4 here back in the old home state of Milwaukee, it's kind of a hmm hmm. It's a tough one. So, anyways, that's it for that. It's not what you want, but for Mijatovic, the suspensions are down. That is MASL news, and that's just my simple message. I respect the heck out of him as a player. He's a player you want on your team. He's a good, solid player. He's killing his own career, and I've seen it happen plenty of times. And this league ain't high enough up, man. You ain't that important.
Yeah.
That important. You think you are, you're good in this league.
I think Craig, you muted yourself right now, and it's one of these things where if you were fired up, I think I felt it.
Yeah.
Like it's just so much, but then at the same time, nothing to say to a guy.
No, just again, I respect him. I think he's hurting his own career right now. I hope he turns it around. I enjoy watching Tacoma play. I think he makes them better. I think he makes the teams he plays on better. He's a good player, but violent conduct, you can't have it in this league. You can't just abide by it in this league, and it is tough for Tacoma. I think they'll sneak into 8th, but rough times. Okay. Kind of the last thing here. All-Star today was supposed to be the All-Star game draft, and apparently someone's flight didn't come through or something. Just hilarious. The league issued a notice. The draft is delayed
due to an unexpected travel delay.
Unexpected. Who knew?
I'd be more shocked.
My bags in Albuquerque.
I'd be more shocked if they were expecting the delay. Like, like we thought.
Easy to get to Utica. It's just like a hop, skip, and a jump. That's the whole problem. Is that they missed the skip. They only had the hop and the jump. So yeah. There will be a draft though. Draft teams like the NBA did, and it's Team Pereira against Team Kelvin. Oliveira. Oliveira's been in the league 4 games. 5?
Just wow.
5 games in the league.
Meteoric rise.
I mean, listen, I said on our broadcast, he's the next superstar in the league. His talent is undeniable. How is he? I mean, I get it. It's Utica, but he's played 5 games in the league. He's the captain.
I mean, when I think MASL, I think Kelvin Oliveira, man.
Right.
Like that for years now. Synonymous.
There's just some weird ass stuff going on with this game, man. It really makes me laugh. As you can see, I'm highly entertained. Pereira, okay, that makes sense. Pereira's teamed with Stefan Stokic because reasons. And Oliveira is paired with Everton because that's actually his coach and Utica is his place. So I get that one. Stokic can make it as long as the travel delays don't bog him down too bad. And as long as the travel delays don't bog down everyone else too bad, on February 12th, they will play this All-Star game in Utica with, I think, 6 defenders and 18 forwards. They will play this match. It'll be delightful.
If you like offense, let's go. If you hate goalkeeping, this is the game for you.
I mean, I like defense.
Yeah, it makes it interesting. Looking for a 22
to
23.
Run back and forth and put goals in. It's not. No one's going to love it if it's 22-19. It's not going to be like, oh, what a high class exhibition of the Major Arena Soccer League. It's 22-19. I don't think that'll happen either. I think defenders want to block shots and defend. If I'm Serta going to the game, I'm not going there to be a turnstile. I'm not going there just to jog back and forth and then to try and take a shot from the yellow line. No, I'm going to block. The commissioner, the deputy commissioner, I can come up with a list. Utica ticket sales. Plenty of people care about this match season. What are you talking about? Well, anyways, it's happening.
Kelvin requested to be the team captain, so of course he cares.
Right. I mean, as the longtime standard bearer of the league, Calvin Oliveira, 5 matches in. Share with us your insight. Not all these players. He doesn't know who the players are. He's been here 5 games. Just looking at Everton on the list, going, "Who the heck is this guy?" Chileus? Do we take him? No. Oh, he's not there. Okay. Which one do I take, boss? Tell me. Oh man. I'm just laughing. I'm MASL gonna MASL like no one else. If MLS gonna MLS, MASL gonna MASL like times 5. And it's fun. It's why we love it so much. It's why we love it so much. That game coming up, February 12th. Can't wait. Wrap up with some quick soccer's news. Team is not in a great state health-wise. They really aren't. There's no set time to get Taylor back. We saw Serta on the bike. He's got a hammy issue. You got to be careful with that. From what I heard, Pee Wee's a couple weeks away, probably. Ben Raymond was missed. Soccer's played basically with 3 defenders for much of the Outlaws game, and for a tight 4 for the strikers match as well. So getting healthy in the back end would be really a great thing for San Diego. But I do think that sometimes you find better chemistry, as we talked about at the beginning of the show, Tony. You find better chemistry through having great skilled players being forced to not share as much and to get more time on the ball. They wind up, not surprisingly, creating more as a result.
Yeah, and that's how you build those layers, the dynamic aspect of your team where you don't have to overly rely on 1 or 2 just stalwart players that are there for that you always have to rely, because you're going to go back to that well, and that well is going to run dry. You spread the love, you spread the looks, get some defenders in there, give different looks, give the opponents a different thing to think about and worry about at all times. If you have a moment where Pee Wee comes in and he's healthy and he's ready to get back into the fray, it's not just, oh, Pee Wee's gonna get ready to receive a foul. No, he started off the season, and even last season, by having some production. He was impressing a little bit. So if he can come in a little bit later in the season, get some health in, all right, we have this layer in there. Bond comes in, hey, that's a big body that's going to come at you fast, and you have to be able to account for that. And then the other teams, just like as well, right? Like if you're recovering from a knee injury, you're going to your ankle's going to compensate in a lot of different ways, and usually that's how compound injuries happen, because you're over reliance on one of the things, and that's what you don't want to see, where they're going to go and overly rely on Costa, on Charlie, and it's going to be too much of a weight on his legs and just on his being, and you're going to ask too much of him, and then you're going to just burn him out. That's not what we want from the Soccers. It's just keep everybody fresh, keep everybody rotated, give everybody different looks. I'm glad Xavier got a couple of looks and a couple of chances, and has had more game time than he has for a lot of his career in the Soccers. So just in general, this is another opportunity to get these looks upcoming with the next match with Decas.
And that's how we wrap up. The Soccers play the Outlaws on Saturday, 5 o'clock our time. Mesquite Arena, dozens in attendance. The horse corrals right outside the pitch, and the Soccers hoping to get a win at a place that they have rarely won, Mesquite Arena. I'm going to go ahead, because I'm not affiliated. I'm just a fan out here. I'm going to go ahead and throw a little challenge out to the San Diego Soccers. How about you take this match seriously for once? And that's not a dig on any player on this team. I'm starting with you, coaching staff. How about you take this match serious for once? For once. How about no side trips, no dalliances, no show up day of game? How about a serious lineup, a serious game plan, and treat this like a playoff match? Because I don't think you will. And I think that Texas has a bang average chance of winning this match. Or the Soccers prevailing by 1. Or maybe 2. That's how I see this match. I see it as us messing around again, bouncy ball, bouncy turf, dumb penalty, missed shots, plastic walls. They got those plastic walls that look like the things you'd walk in between at a concert. You know, those like concave, bouncy walls. Everything flies off it. So I'm challenging you, Sockers. Can you score 10 goals? Like, can you beat up a bad team? Can you win by 7? Or is it our lot in life that these games will always and forevermore not be taken seriously, be sleptwalked through, kind of a half thing, and then you find yourself in a match and, oh, doggone it, we got to go, call timeout, yell at the club. Everyone's pushing, defenders get pushed to the limit, goalkeeper gets pushed to the limit. You scrape out a match. Why? Everyone else is pummeling this team. They're better with Ortiz. They're better with Eligwe. They'll play better at home. They've probably got 5 players that couldn't fly that will be there and be able to play. You're still there's like one guy, 1.5 guys that could possibly make the Sockers on Texas. So assert your will. Can you do it? How about a no mess around weekend? How about go there and be up 7-1 at the half? And then if you want to pull the parachute, cool. But like, how about go out there and be up 7-1 at the half? Because I haven't seen this team take a game like this seriously in a very long time. And then you wind up watching it through gritted teeth and furrowed brow as it's 5-5, and then suddenly something goes in, you lose 6-5, and then some stupid guy from the arena comes and tries to grab Tavoy around the waist and pull him, and the next thing you know, there's suspensions and I've seen some bad soccer at Mesquite Arena, and I'd like to not see it. I don't think it's a fun place to watch a match. Bouncy ball, bouncy wall, but take care of business. And that's my little message. Take care of business. Don't mess around. Don't play with your food. Don't be 5-5 in the fourth. Don't be 6-4 or something like that. Put this match away the way that you should. And that's a proper way to finish your first 10 matches of the year, 9-1.
Yeah. Don't be the team that we're talking about this last week. Don't be the team that gives Mesquite their first win. That's literally the place. That's the worst case scenario right now. But also, if you're going to commit either way, that's, I think, what we're asking. Just commit. If you're not going to be taking it seriously, then rotate entirely. Take your M2 team out there. Just commit to having a bad time in Texas. Go for it. Or, okay, let's go ahead and put a game plan together. Let's study some film. Hey, what did we do wrong last time we were here out? Maybe not even last time we were here at Texas. Last time you faced them in your own arena. How about that? There's plenty to learn from that game right there. And there's plenty of game film that's going to suffice from whatever flight and whatever, long road trip it actually does take to get to Mesquite Arena. There's plenty of time to prepare for it right now. Go ahead and rest. You can do that. But there's also a professional aspect of this where don't give anybody else in the league a reason to look at this game and say, oh, well, we know what's happening between the Sockers and Texas before the season started. Of course, it's just a rollover win. No, bulldoze over them and show everybody that you're capable of some offensive firepower and not just barely getting by on oh man, we certainly got lucky there against Mesquite, against Texas, against the Outlaws. Not this team. Let Ortiz do what he does. He's going to do it regardless to every single team out there. Don't be the team that loses, or don't be the team that gets embarrassed by a close victory in Texas.
Last year, this match was played on February 1st at Mesquite Arena, and it was Sockers 6, Outlaws 5. So that's just a year ago. And yes, they had Morales, and yes, they had Mendez, and now we have Mendez and Morales, and that's why it should not be, anywhere's near a close match. Looking back to the year prior to that, because I know let's see. 4, where are we? Where's Mesquite Arena? There it is. We lost 6-5. And that was the match that Tavoy got suspended. Lost 6-5. Went back there and won 7-1 in the playoffs. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for 7-1. I'm not looking for 6-5. But here's what I'm predicting. Soccer 6, Outlaws 5.
No.
That's what I will predict for this match. It's not what I want. Pulling it out for the opposite. Hell, I'll see if it's on Underdog. I'll probably back that play.
That's some good action there. That's
Soccer 6, Outlaws 5. That's what I'm looking at in terms of what we'll get. Now, prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Show me different.
Yeah.
Show me that level, because I truly think it's one thing. I really want to end the show, but it's one thing that has been missing from this soccer's team, or at least was missing last year. And that's the other gear to cruise past a team, to dominate, to put your foot on their neck and never let up and stomp a team. People are supposed to be afraid to play the Sockers. The Sockers are this wonderful, efficient team that pushes out 6-4, 6-4, 4-3, 7-4, 7-5, 5-4. What about 8-2? What about a blowout? How about it? That's what you need to provide on Saturday. I'll bet against it. I'll say 6-5 Sockers will be the final. And we'll come back next Tuesday and we'll find out, which side of it that we're on. But that's where we're at. Anything else, my friend?
No, I'm on that same place. No embarrassing losses, no embarrassing wins. Just do the Soccer's name proud. Be the team that you're supposed to be. You have the talent. Just get it done.
Yes. Get it done.
Simply.
Get it done. No one wants to talk about it. I feel like they just cruise into these matches. Like, well, we're going to go to Texas and win. And then, the Outlaws are trying. They're scoring. They're blocking our shots. What the hell? Like, no, let's go in. They need a little Michael Jordan invent a reason to get mad.
Yeah.
Like David Ortiz colored his hair that way just to piss you off. Like just something. Find something. Find something in there that'll make you pissed off so that you go in there and you play that kind of match. Because I do think that's an important aspect of a championship team. It may not seem like it, but I think that's an important aspect of a championship team, that a team can run away, that a team can be explosive, that it can bury, their opponent. And the Sockers haven't shown the ability to bury anybody yet. So I'd like to see that on Saturday. I believe in you, but I'm going to bet against it because I think it requires a level of want to, and I don't know if the Sockers want to go in there and stomp Texas. I know they've got the ability to. So we'll find out. All right, that's it for the show. Huge week in soccer. Things happening at San Diego FC. Terrible things happening at San Diego Wave FC, although they got some young players that I'm sure are good. But when you trade the best player in the whole world, seems like a really bad week.
Not a good week.
You'll be covering it all right here, Tony, on San Diego Punto Football to everybody about it.
Absolutely. So this is the house that soccer lives in San Diego. San Diego Punto Football, San Diego.football. Check it out on Instagram, on X, on Blue Sky, on Facebook. It's my personal Facebook, so go for it. San Diego Punto Football or Tony Sanchez. You could find it. Or Tony, I found out Tony Sanchez San Diego Punto Football on Blue Sky. I guess it's a domain thing. The magical Drew figured that out.
Okay. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Blue Sky at 619 Sports. That's where I am. I'm on Instagram as well at 619 Sports and Life. Usually putting up a picture of Tony and I before the match and some other things too. And that's about all of where I am. Some people message me on Facebook. I don't really use Facebook anymore, and I am not on that other site. So if you see someone with the handle 619 Sports there, it ain't me. And that's all I got to say. All right. For Tony Sanchez, I'm Craig Elston. Thank you so much, Sockers fans. Love all of you. Thank you for being with us here for a 97-minute show. We'll be back next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Until then, have a great week, a wonderful weekend, and go Sockers!